Matthew chapter 13. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered round him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The disciples came to him and asked, Why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing but never understanding. You will be ever seeing but never perceiving. For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people longed to see what you see but did not see it, and to hear what you hear but did not hear it. Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown.
Stories are great. They are what move us. They make us feel alive and encourage us. Our love of stories is a reflection of our need to understand life. They connect with our mind and with our hearts also. That is why we love books, movies, and TV shows. Stories are the way to reach people and connect both mentally and emotionally. Jesus was good at using stories. He told stories that engaged and made people wonder, what happens next? Or how is this going to turn out? He kept people's attention with stories. Jesus used things that people knew well. He spoke with stories so that people could learn and understand about God. That is why we call them parables, stories with meaning. Jesus always spoke to people this way. He taught them as much as they could understand. Jesus also taught his disciples, his close friends, away from the crowds. He taught the disciples more than just the story being told. They often asked him questions and they wanted to learn and wanted to understand. I want to do what they did. I want to focus on this story where he talked about how a person's trust in God can either be nurtured or destroyed. Here is how he put it. A seed does not grow when you keep it away from the soil. The seed needs good dirt. The seed needs deep dirt. The seed suffers no rivalry. This story helps us understand our growth and faith in God. Jesus' stories were about people. The people connection is what guides us through the story and what will connect with us. So if a personal connection is not obvious in the story, I challenge you to find the people connection. This story talks about dirt. We do have a farmer also. Some may think that this is the people connection. After all, it is called the parable of the sower by Jesus in Matthew 13:18. However, would you be surprised that the people connection is really in the dirt? Not just any dirt, dirt that is not really dirt. Dirt that is us. If the dirt is you, then what does it do to you in hearing this story? Do you feel the people connection? If you were to go out and speak this story on its own as one of Jesus' stories to a friend or a stranger, would they understand the people connections in the dirt? Take away Jesus' explanation for a moment. Is it clear that this story is about people? The answer is, perhaps surprisingly, no. It is a story about dirt and seed and a farmer planting a crop for harvest. The obvious moral of the story is plant seed in good dirt. Is this the meaning of the story? Well, there are two answers here. For some, the meaning will be plant in the good dirt. One reason for Jesus to tell this story is to connect with some people, but not these people that only see seeds and dirt. The other reason for this story is for Jesus to remove the people connections for some. The point of the story, in part, is to disconnect us from the real meaning, as all Jesus' stories did. For us that know the meaning of this story, it leads us to where Jesus takes his own story. Matthew 28:18-20, Jesus said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. When you read through the story of a farmer and seeds and dirt, you hear and see more than this. If you do not see more, you are not hearing the story with its people connections. The story is about connecting you with something. It is a calculated story to wake us up from our domestication of Jesus and God and life. It is designed to either shock us or simply sweep over us unnoticed as a simple farming story. This story should grab you because it is about your trust of God and how much Jesus has authority over you. if it does not grab you, then one truth should stand out to you right now. If you think it is about farming, then you do not trust God. Jesus has no authority over you. This story has disconnected you from its meaning. You are disconnected from God. It is important that we see this connection to our own trust in God in this story. That is why in Matthew 13:10-12, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." They wanted to trust and hear Jesus. That is why Jesus lets his stories speak for themselves. A good story has at least one moment of truth. Call it an aha moment. Stop listening and you will miss it. The ideas in Jesus' story are about life and death and where God plants the seed of his gospel. The thing that gives the parable life and depth is the different soils the seed is thrown on. The seed is going to be scattered widely and will react to the soils in different ways with different crop yields. Not all plants that show initial signs of life will live. The ideas in this story speak for themselves and demand self-reflection. Jesus' stories were meant to stir the heart. People are not inclined to think about things that they do not care about. Stories stir the heart not to be manipulative, not to simply be melodramatic, but to break through the noise of information that constantly surrounds us and to say, this is worth your attention. This story, even without the people connections, still does that. Why does the farmer waste seed by scattering it widely? Is he wasting a precious commodity? Why does he not do something about the rocky ground? Why does he not kill the weeds? Even small stirrings in this story lead us to some very real truths. However, that is not enough. We need to get the meaning. The person who is stirred by this story is getting why Jesus is talking in parables. Matthew 13:13-17. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. In the Bible, the heart is the whole of the innermost person, not emotions. Jesus said in Matthew 15:16-18, "Are you still so dull?" Jesus asked them. "Don't you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them." Jesus intends to have a person stirred by his story. Jesus intends to wake up people's minds, emotions, and will. Has this happened to you? If you want to wake up to the meaning here, then listen to this. Jesus' stories did not tell. They show you something. They show you where you are with God. Showing is the most important rule of storytelling. People see themselves, feel conflict, and become more involved with the story, not just be receivers of a list or facts or events. You know where you are in this story, right? This is not dirt. You are the dirt, and the seed is the Word of God, the gospel. The message is about Jesus, the good news. Where are you in this story? Matthew 13:19, the seed sown along the path is a person who hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it. The evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in the heart. Or Matthew 13:20-21, the seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy, but they quickly fall away. Where are you in this story? Matthew 13:22, the seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. See the people connections in this story. Do you see your personal connections? These connections may be disturbing. Jesus says that a person who does not want his authority will not have any life in them. It will be snatched and eaten, and they will lose it forever, or they will be superficial and die slowly, or they will be choked and dead. This story has real meaning, more real than the story itself. When the final line is spoken, you should know exactly why you listened to Jesus to start with. In the end, this may be the most important thing of all. This story is not about you. This story is you. This story is what you stand for, where you have been, and where you are going. You know where you are in this story, right? Matthew 13:23, the seed falling on the good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Do you want to be the good soil? This is where I want to be. My heart open and honestly needing to live for Jesus. He will grow us beyond our wildest imagination. We may not become successful in the eyes of the world, but our true lives will be amazing. We will develop a crop, the fruits of the Spirit of God Himself. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This story is more than great. This is who you are as a Christian, standing tall and alive and showing all the fruit of the Spirit of God, yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. The end result is beautiful. You are the dirt. A plant does not grow when you take it away from the soil it needs. In the same way, your faith in God will not grow if you reject it, if you are shallow, if you crowd it out. For God's message, the good news of Jesus and His authority, to grow in you, humbly give yourself to God. Be the good soil and be amazed by what God does when you grow and live for Him. Know where you are in this story, and for God's sake and yours, do something about it.